Yep. Good evening. Last session we learned about JavaScript variables. So various important points about variables. Now, after understanding variables, we have to discuss about data types. So data type, JavaScript data types. So we learned about variable variable naming rules and all. Now, next important data type. Technically, actual data type is nothing but data type defines the data structure. We call it as data structure. Generally, when you are learning any programming language, when you are learning any programming language, when we ask what is data type, then many people have a definition. Data type tells what type of data we can store. But actually, that is not only what type of data we can store. It is about how much data you can store also. That is the reason better to say data type is data structure. Data structure means so it specifies the type of data and range of data. What type of data you can store, how much you can store. These two under data type. So data type is not only what type of data, it is about what type of data and how much. So that defines the type and that defines the range. Actually, the data types are implicitly typed for JavaScript. Data types are implicitly typed for JavaScript. That means already I explained one drawback. If you remembered, JavaScript is not strongly typed, strictly typed and strongly typed. What is difference between strongly typed and strictly typed? Strongly typed means it is about what kind of data we can store and allowing same type of data. If I say number, it should handle only number. So it is not strongly typed means it can take any type of value. It can take any type of value, handle any type of value, right? So strictly typed means without violating the standards of programming, without violating the rules of programming. That is strictly typed. So JavaScript is not strongly typed. That means we don't define any data type. That means data type is determined according to the value assigned. What kind of value you assign, based on that data type will be determined. For example, var x, that means we are not defining any value. In that case, it is the data type. Here data type is undefined. It uses undefined. So in many interviews they ask what does undefined means. Undefined is a type which indicates that the value is not defined. If value is not defined, then the data type of X is unknown. X is undefined means there is no value. That means if value is not defined, then it returns as undefined. By default, it is undefined. Suppose later, if I assign some number, then data type is number. Later into that X, I defined some true. Then data type is called as Boolean like that. That means it allows you to store anything. It will not have any restriction. We have to manually restrict. In other strongly typed languages, it automatically restricts the wrong data. If you say number, it will allow only number. But in JavaScript, we have to explicitly handle it. So JavaScript is not strongly typed. But when you are dealing with different types of data, you should know what type of data JavaScript can handle, right? So JavaScript is not strongly typed, but it can handle various data types which are classified into two groups. They are classified into two groups. We have primitive types. We have non-primitive types. Non-primitive types. Two types are there. Primitive types and non-primitive types. So data types are classified into two types, primitive and non-primitive. If you don't mention any value, what is the default? Undefined. So what are difference between primitive and non-primitive? Actually, primitive types are nothing but primitive types means they are immutable types. Immutable types. They are immutable types. They are immutable types. Immutable type means structure uh, st- structure will not change. Will not change. Structure will not change. So we have fixed range for values. Structure will never change. It is fixed range of values. Those are called primitive types. Immutable. Wherever you hear the word immutable means it's cannot change. Not value. Immutable is not about value. Immutable is about structure. That means once you define structure, it is fixed. It cannot change. It cannot increase. It cannot decrease. Suppose you say some in a class only 10 members allowed. That's fixed. 10. That means one cannot be more, one cannot be less also. It should be exactly 10. That means you cannot have more than that. You cannot have less than that. Exact 10. Fixed. And it cannot change. One new person comes, he cannot add. That means it cannot change. That means that 10 will not increase to 11 later one new person comes. It is fixed. Those are actually primitive types. So we call them as immutable types. Immutable types. Actually, in JavaScript, JavaScript immutable types. Immutable types, or you can say JavaScript primitive types are, we have the type number, we have a string, we have a boolean, we have null, and we have undefined. This all comes under primitive types. These are all primitive types: number, string, boolean, null, undefined, these are all primitive types. So that means you cannot change the structure. For example, I will show you here the point. Suppose here we are dealing with project. Yeah. So here I am configuring some. Suppose I said var x and document dot write x equal to plus x. We are just printing the value of x. Now you can see when we are printing the value of x, it says undefined because there is no value. If there is no value, so the default type is what? Undefined. So suppose I am storing some value into it. I am storing some value. Suppose so 10. If I ask a question like how much number I can store in X, how much number I can store in X, it's not like anything because it is a primitive type. It have fixed range. You cannot say that you can store any number. No, you can't store any number. It have a fixed range. For example, I will show you. I'll just show you the range actually. Min equal to, so number dot min safe integer, and max equal to, so here number dot max safe integer. I am printing the minimum and maximum number range. This is the range. That means in JavaScript, you can store a number in a variable within this value. That means from minus 900,712 plus 900,71991. This is all number. This is the range of number. That means if anybody asks like, can I save 92? No, you cannot. That is maximum limit. You cannot store another number, not valid. That means the number range can be from here to here only. So fixed range, it cannot change. Can you change the minimum range? No. Minimum, maximum. Within that only a value should be. So there is fixed range for value and you cannot change that range. It's not possible to change this range. That is the fixed range. That is why they are called as immutable. Others also I will tell you, minimum, maximum, what values they will take. But initially, why they are called primitive types? They are called primitive types because their structure is standard. They have a fixed range for values. The value range will never change. We have to store within the range between minimum and maximum. So that is one point. Another important is primitive types are stored in memory stack. They are stored in memory stack. Actually, stack uses last in first out mechanism. It uses last in first out mechanism. So that means the last value that you store in, that is the first value that comes out. That means already I showed here, right? So if I try to print the value of x, what it will print? It is assigned with 10. After that, it is assigned with true. What it will print? It will print last in first out. That means the last value that you sent in, that is the first value that comes out. That means it will print which one? True. right? It is going to print true. So it uses the mechanism. The mechanism is last in first. Now can I access 10 without that true? Not possible. Not possible. Not possible. You cannot access that 10 so without accessing this true. It's not possible at all. Only this one. Only this one. If you remove this, then 10 is accessible. If you remove that, then only 10 is accessible. So you assigned some 10 with true. Can we access that 10 directly? Not possible. So you have to access only true. Then how to access 10? Not possible. It's gone. So if you remove this true, then this will be used as last in. Right? You cannot access this 10 at all. When you can access before it is assigned with another value. Before you assign with true, you can access it 10. But after it is assigned, the last value will be the final. So all these will work with the same mechanism, last in, first out. So that is primitive types. So in primitive types, we will see one by one now. That means in the primitive types, the first one is number type. Number type actually, so it is used to store, it is used to store, it is used to configure, because variable can store anything. So it is used to configure a numeric value, a numeric value which can be a numeric value which can be anything. A numeric value can be signed integer, it can be unsigned integer, it can be floating point, it can be double, it can be decimal, it can be so exponent, so it can be binary, it can be hexa, it can be octa. You can store any kind of value inside this number type. Number type means all these comes under number. That means these are all considered as numbers. Signed integer, unsigned integer, floating point, double, decimal, all these considered as numbers. Actually, this signed integer means with a negative sign and some value like 10. Unsigned integer means without any sign, some value. Floating point means up to maximum 2 places of integer and maximum 2 places of fraction. Then it is called floating. Anything other than that means even this integer becomes 3 digits, then it is called double. Or this fraction becomes 3 digits, then it is called double. Right? Anything up to 2 digits, we call it as float. Right? More than 2, anywhere more than 2, it is a double. And more than 4, up to 3. Right? If it is more than 4, then it is called as decimal. It is called as decimal. That means even you have this, then this is called decimal. We call it as decimal. And very important, you can have up to 29 places of decimal. It's a very huge number. Majority several programming languages, they support only 7 or 8 decimal places. Several programming languages support 7 or 8 places of decimal. But JavaScript can support up to 29 decimal places. That means it will not round the value immediately. It can store a large value in a clean way. Accurate values it can show. That is one advantage of having so many decimal places. Otherwise, your values will be rounded, right? Exponent is nothing but here. Suppose 2e3. This e is as exponent. E is used as exponent. That indicates 2 to the 2 into 10 to the power of 3. 10 to the power. This is I will give power of 3. Write as power as 3. That means it will be like 2000. So this E is not a string. This is also considered as a number. Binaries are there. Binaries also comes under number. That means 0B1010. That is a number. That is a binary. Binaries usually have B lowercase. Then it is binary. Exponents may have E lowercase. Uppercase again is different. So hexa, already we know hexa. Hexa we learned in hexadecimal colors. We discussed already about that. Hexa allows the values. So you can have F up to maximum F, 0 to F. So 0 to F you can have an hexa value, some hexa values. Where to use them I will tell you. Where to use them we will see. Octa will use O. Octa will use O. O is the character for octa values. Where to use these hexa octa values we will learn. We will discuss about them. So majority you might have worked with signed, unsigned, floating, doubles, decimals, even exponents also we will use in various occasions. Binaries, hexa, octa, we are going to learn in the next levels how to use them. For that we need some operators and other type of functions. So this all comes under number. That means suppose, see, let me give you this one. Actually, the minimum, the min and max range of number is, the min and max range of number is this one. This is the minimum and maximum range of number. That is the min and max range of number. That means it cannot change. So within that range you have to define the number. Now see here, I am typing something like temporarily. Here I am typing just one simple option here. Yeah. Where x is equal to 0b1010, like this I written. And I am writing document.write. I am giving here type of x, or I will simply say x is, and here I said type of x. Now you can see that it says that x is number. Even I am using this b, it says that x is number. But what number? Suppose temporarily I will put console.log x equal to some value of x. So you can observe that console means you have to see, inspect. In the console you can see the value of that x is 10. That is the binary. That means this is the binary conversion. X is number. So x is number type. And the code I given is, that is binary of 10. This is binary of 10. That means 10 in binary form, it is written like this, 0b1010. That is the binary of number 10, right? So technically this is a number. Suppose I given, so 2e3, This is also considered as a number. That's also number only. But 2e3, you can see, so it is 2000. X equal to 2000. That means 2 into 10 to the power of 3. So that is 2000. These are all the number types, means how we can configure the numbers, right? So technically, when you are dealing with the number, first you should know that a number means it can be signed, unsigned, float, double, decimal, exponent, binary, hexa, octa. Any of these can be treated as a number, right? Now, here, one major problem you will face in JavaScript is every input from HTML is considered as string. Every input from HTML is string. From wherever you type, you send through radio button, checkbox, drop down, list box, text box, or even you send from query string. It is string. By default, everything you send, even you send from a input type number, it is string only. It is string. So it's very important. So you have to convert number into string into number. You have to convert string into number to handle manipulations. To handle manipulations on number, you have to convert string into number. And JavaScript provides following methods for converting a string into number. And we have two methods. One is parse int and we have parse float. These are used for converting a string into number. So whatever you input from HTML is automatically treated as a string. You have to convert that into number. Otherwise, you will have wrong values. For example, see now, suppose here I am configuring some values like here number type. Okay, here I am creating some age. It said type is equal to text id as txt age. And we have a button submit. So here in this page, so user can enter age, and when he submits that, on the button click, on click is equal to age submit click. We will write a function submit click. So let's write in the script function submit click. This will fire up when they click the submit button. Here I will collect age and I will store in a variable where age, it comes from document get element by id. So that is txt age. Now here I am defining. So I am configuring here as a document dot write. So you will be how much? That is age plus 1 next year. Like this I am typing something. That means next year you will be age plus 1. How much age he entered plus 1. That's the calculation it has to do. That means now if he entered the age as 22, so next year 23, then it be displaying. You see here we have to get the value because this is only text box now. We need to collect the value of text box. Now I am entering 22 and click on submit. Then it says 22 1. That means it is treating as a string. It is treating as a string. That means whatever you input. So I will do one thing. Input type I will change to number. Input type I am changing to number. So I say 25 and submit. It is 25 1. Anything you give from input, even a number or a string or anything, it is by default string. Then you will have wrong values because it says 22 plus 1. Here plus is used for concatenation. Concatenation means combining. It is not adding. That means it is treating this 22 as string. To that it is adding one string. That means 22 1, 25 1. It will be like this. But we need to convert this into number. Then it can plus can understand that okay, age is not a string. We have to do addition. How do we convert this into number? So to convert that into number, we need two methods, parse int, parse float. Parse int you can use if you are converting a integer. Parse float you can use if you are converting any fractions. If there are fractions in your values, don't use parse int because it will ignore these fractions. It will take only these integers. But we need these fractions also in various occasions. Then we have to use parse float. Suppose now I am entering here. So this age must be converted. That means what we have to do syntactically. Suppose where age is equal to some, here we have to use parse int. Parse int, whatever the value comes from. That means, so this is text box value. We have to get the text box value and use it. Text box, radio, checkbox, from anywhere the value may come. That means we need to convert that here, or you can do here itself, or you can do while calculating. If you do while calculating, only here it will work. But if you do here, then everywhere you can use as number. Otherwise, it will work as number only here. We can write like this here. We can use parse int and age plus 1. Then it will work. Age will work as number only for this line. Somewhere else, if you are trying to again use it for as a number, it will not work. So what you can do better here, it will work. So now see 22 submit, it will be 23. So you can do another way. Instead of doing here, you can just put here age, and here while reading itself, you can use parse int. Parse int. You can define parse int, and here itself you can read the value. That means whatever the value you are reading from text box, convert that into number. And it can handle that. So it can handle, right? And you entered something here. So, and it will display 12 next to you. So that is depending on where you want to implement that. Converting into number is important. Now what is problem here is, actually if I say suppose 3.4, then submit, then it will be 4. But it should be 4.4, not 4. So in that case, so parse int is not good. Then we have to use parse float. If you are expecting fractions, then it will display like this. Otherwise, it will round up the values, right? Even if you are not using fraction, you can use parse float, no problem. That means parse float can be used for integers as well as fractions, but not required for fraction, because what it will do is it will suppress the fractions and display integer. That is not required. So depending on the requirement, you can use parse int or you can use parse float. right? This is one example, means how we can manage that. Now here one more point is actually JavaScript parsing methods parsing methods can parse any value starting with the number, any value starting with number, even if it contains a string expression, even if it contains a string expression. That means actually it can read up to the numeric occurrence. Up to the numeric occurrence it can read. What does that means? Nothing but actually, suppose I am entering here as, so suppose 32a. So that means here I will give input type as text, right? Now I can type anything here. Text also I can type. That means here 32a. If I say 32a, is it possible to convert it? It is possible. It will take up to 32 and skip this a. That is what I given here. It parsing method can parse any value starting with number, even if it contains a string expression. That means it can translate this up to 32, then it will be 33. But remember, it cannot do that if it is starting with alphabet. If it is starting with alphabet, it cannot say. It says not a number. Not a number. NaN means not a number. That means the conversion is allowed. The conversion is allowed if starts with number. Suppose I said 35a 67. Then what is the next number? 36 only. Why? Because once a string occurrence starts, it stops. It will not consider others. It will ignore everything up to numeric. And once string starts, it will stop parsing. Then others are ignored. Whatever you write after string, they are ignored. That means now its value is only 36. That 67 is no use. So it can convert that here. Suppose I say a is equal to 20ab and b is equal to 40, like this. Then automatically a plus b, it will return if you are doing with parsing. That means you are trying to convert. So parse int a, and you don't need to parse. Then what is the result? It will be 60. It will be 60. Right? If a is equal to, here if a is equal to ab 20, like this, then b equal to 40. So then what will happen here? So simply a plus b, even you parse, is NaN. NaN means not a number. So number, it is not a number. It will not say that. It will say that it is not a number. So anything, if you want to do manipulations on numbers, then you have to know this conversion technique. Another important is you can verify and allow only numeric. So only number. You can verify and allow only number as input by using the method is NaN. By using the method is NaN. That means is NaN is to verify whether the value entered is a number or not. That means now here I am writing condition simple. I'm writing the condition here. If is nan age, that means age is not a number. Document dot write. I will put a message. Age must be a number. So else it will do that work. Else it is going to do that work. That means now here I am defining, suppose 22, then it says 23. Suppose I entered some age 34, then it says age must be number. That means it is verifying whether it is a number or not. So for that we need to enter that. Suppose 21A. Now you see it is 22, because already we said that anything starting with number is considered as a number. If you are not entering anything, that then it will say must be number. So that is to verify. So you can verify and allow only number as input by using this method. Actually, it is a Boolean method. So Boolean true if value is not number. It returns Boolean true if value is not number. So based on that, so we need to handle the validation here. That is one option. So two options are there. If anybody asked you in interview like how to know the data type is number or not, how to know the data type is number or not, you have two things actually. So you can use, one is nan, automatically it will verify whether it is a number or not, or you can use type of. Type of is an operator, type of operator. This type of will verify and tell what type of data it is. Is it a number or not? So we can have type of, or we can have is nan, these two options. Type of you will see later in operators. I will show in operators. What are different types of operators and how do we work with them, right? Yeah. So technically, so we need to understand how we can deal with numbers. That is one option. I hope you are clear with all these things. Huh? Yeah, we will put in various examples. First, we need to understand what are the parsing methods and how to handle them, right? Next, important in data types, we have a string type. So the number type and the next, the string type. So number type, signed, unsigned, float, all these comes under number type. String type is very important and very complex in for future also. String actually is nothing but string is a literal with a group of characters enclosed in double quotes. Double quotes, we have double quotations. So in single quotes, in single quotations, and in backtick. In backtick is written like this. That is called backtick. These are backticks. Backticks and single quotes are different. You need to know about them correctly. This backtick already we have terminal. To open terminal we are using control backtick shortcut. But backtick is present on tilde key. You will see on keyboard tilde key is there. On that key you will find that backtick. What is difference actually? That means group of characters enclosed in double, single, or this. Actually, double and single quotes are used to switch between inner and outer strings. To switch between inner and outer strings, we can use single quote, double quote, anything is okay. But problem is they will not allow embedded expressions. They will not allow embedded expressions. Actually, JavaScript, so ES5 and higher version allows embedded expressions. So using dollar curly brace, that is embedded expressions, and this is not allowed. So they will not allow embedded expression. That means single quote, double quote will not allow this. And you can use JavaScript embedded expression only in backtick. Only in backtick you can use. So you cannot use embedded expressions in single quotes and double quotes. Actually, you see now, suppose I am typing in a string. So let's say string.html. Here, suppose I am configuring a simple script. So where link is equal to, here double quotes, and inside the double quotes anchor close, anchor have an href. I cannot use double quotes again, it is invalid. If outer string is in double quote, the inner string must be in single quote. So here home.html, so say home like this. If you can have another thing, so you can have where new link is equal to, outer string can be in single quote, and inner string can be href is equal to, it cannot be again single quote now, it can be in double quote. So this is some about .html, some about like this. That is right. You can configure inner outer strings. That means you can switch between the outer and inner strings by using single quote and double quote. If outer is double, inner is single. If outer is single, inner is double. So document.write, I am printing link. So in the next line, I am printing new link, and both are printed. And you can see it is printing both of them. So it is going to print both links. So working depending on whether that file is present or not, whatever link we given, that file is not there, it will not display. If it is there, it will display. But here the combination of inner and outer strings will be like this. That means, yeah, this we can switch between this. This is the syntax, how we can switch between inner and outer. But what is problem with inner and outer strings and single and double quotes? Lot of embedded expressions are problem actually. For example, where I will put user name is equal to John, okay, where age is equal to 20, okay. So where message 1 is equal to, I am displaying the message hello John, hello username, then I am using a string in double quote or single quote, then I am writing hello, okay. After the word hello, to that hello string finish, to that I need to add this dynamic value. Then we have to use plus. What is the dynamic value coming from user name? After that, I have to continue the string. I have some more to tell. Then again plus what you want to tell more. So you will be, so you will be how much? Age plus 1. Again some calculation have to be done. Again close the string here. After that you have to do some calculation. Calculation is how much? Age plus 1. Age plus 1. This calculation should be added with another string again. Then again this must be in a parenthesis. Age plus 1 and plus. Again my string continues. That means I will say next year. So hello, the username, you will be how much next year? Age plus 1 next year. A lot of concatenations are required. That means now you have to combine by using plus this dynamic value. To the dynamic again we need to combine a string. So if you print this now, document.write, I am printing msg1. You can see that when I am trying to print this, you can see it is printed in this way, but still not satisfying. Spaces are not there. That means after hello, I want some space. After John, I want some space. Actually, here, after hello, there is no space. Then you should not write space like this. That means you should not write space like this. This is not good, because these are considered as leading spaces. Leading spaces. Generally what we do in JavaScript is, while reading a string, we trim the leading spaces. That means we will remove the extra spaces and we will read the strings. That is a very common thing. In that case, these leading spaces will be deleted automatically when you are reading and you are trimming the strings. Later you will see that string. So this is not a good idea. So this is not good idea to give space. Then what we have to do is, for space again we have to concatenate an empty string. For space again we have to concatenate an empty string. This will not be treated as leading space. This is not treated as leading space. This is an empty string. This is an empty string. If you have a string to that you are extending the space, then it is called leading space, right? So now I have to do the same. After username, again space. After you will be, again space. So next year, after age, again space. This we have to do. Empty quotes is space. And now you can see that this looks little better in the presentation. That is how generally we have to do. But now what we can do is, so with the help of this message 2, I will use backtick. This is backtick. This is not single quote, right? This is backtick. In this backtick, I am writing some hello. After that, you continue your string as usual. After hello, I want some dynamic value. If you want your after hello dynamic value, then dynamic value you can put dollar curly brace. This is embedded expression. And in this I will put user name. After that continue, you will be. So here same, you will be. Again dollar curly brace, age plus 1, next year. This is so simple and better. That means now you can have a string with embedded expressions inside. This is not allowed in single quotes. Don't think this single quotes, because I know that many of you will come tomorrow that, sir, in my computer backtick is not working. Your computer haven't came from space. It will work only once. Check again whether you are using single quote or backtick. Don't come with a complaint that my computer not working. Don't blame on your computer. Your computer is genius than you, right? Don't say that in my computer backtick is not working, because in every batch we regularly see this. Immediately tomorrow people will come, backtick not working sir in my computer, right? Backtick will work, but you should know that it is backtick. It is not single quote, right? So you write generally single quote only. You write generally single quote only, right? And I print this now. What happens? BR, right? In the next line, document dot write message to also we will print. Message to also I am printing. Then two messages came, and like this it will come. You will say that backtick not working. Backtick is working, but you haven't used backtick. You used single quote. It is not single quote. Backtick is different. You have to use that backtick from your keyboard. Now you can see both are working same, right? This is a dynamic expression to embed, right? So when you are dealing with the dynamic expressions, you have to handle this. Now this is not allowed in double quote and or in single quotes. It is allowed only in backtick. This is good for handling. That is the reason this type of approach you will never see in future of JavaScript anybody writing. Those days gone, right? We use this technique regularly now, right? So generally, so when you are defining a string, configuring a string, a lot of embedded expressions are required. Earlier we have to handle that with a lengthy approach, right? But now we can easily handle this. So generally, we design lot of templates by using this mechanism. This is expression. Lot of templates are designed by using this. Templates means, for example, see, so means just basic. Suppose we have a title. Title is equal to some user login. That's a string where I'm creating a login. And you see it is a backtick. Backtick I can write in multiple lines. And here I'm just designing. So a heading. Heading is actually, this title should come here. But that title will be changing whatever you want. You can take from a prompt or text box, it can be changing. In that case, it is not a standard value. So I will take it from title. So we have to put an expression title. That means whatever the dynamic, and later you design your template, a data list. So, and here you have a data term. So username, so data term, and the data definition. So some text box input type. Here you can use anything, double quotes, single quotes inside backtick. Inside backtick, you can use anything, single quote, double quote, anything. Only the point is, if you need an expression, what you have to do? So you have to just put a dollar curly brace, right? Another data definition, input type is equal to password, suppose. And data definition, you have a button here. So login and button close. So this is all expression. And very important here, this button is also should have a dynamic value. I can get this from title, same. Now I have to print this document dot write, what is it? Login. So login is a string that contains all the template you have. So we can design such templates with the dynamics. And whenever I will say I will change the title as admin, it will change in both locations, admin login, admin login. Dynamically it will affect everywhere, right? We have dynamic expressions embedded into this that we generally do by using this. This is example for how we can configure the string. Now in string, so much work is there. That means now the point here is, you may ask like, so means sometimes some people have doubt like, you said it comes under primitive type. Primitive type means we cannot change the size. You may ask like, is there any range for string also? For number I showed you a range. Is there any range for string? String means text and numbers. Is there any range for string? How many characters, or how many characters a string can have? Is there any range for string? Of course there will be a range, then only it comes under non-primitive. Na? That means what do you say? You can store anything. Your RAM capacity is 8 GB RAM. You can store 10 GB string inside it. Then there is a limit also. Right? That means there is a limit. You cannot say that anything, any much I can store. Right? That means actually the string here, that means string as per ECMA can be max 2 GB, not characters. It depends the memory size. 2 GB string you can store. It cannot be more than that. More than that. Maximum 2 GB of string you can store in the memory. Even you have a 20 GB RAM, you can store only 2 GB string. It cannot be more than that. That is the reason, I think if you have used Notepad anyway, you are trying to type so much lengthy things in Notepad. At certain stages it says that, so now Notepad is not enough to open this file. Text file is there, you are trying to open, then it says that this file cannot open in Notepad because it is too large. You have to open in WordPad or MS Word. Why it is large? Because its capacity is limited. It cannot go more than that. Right? Depends on that. Right? Technically now, very important, you have to know about JavaScript string manipulations. You learn just how to write a string, then you have to know how to manipulate the string. That means how to extract only some part of the string, how to search whether string contains that value or not. This all comes under string manipulation methods. We have some important methods that we will see in next session. Tomorrow we'll see. Right? Tomorrow entire session will be with a lot of examples on string. Right? Because this is the major part in string handling. Right? That we'll see in next session. Right? So then we can work on examples now. Tomorrow itself we will see some examples. How do we work with this string? Huh? Right?